legal practitioners will call interpretative and express meanings to events. The incident of, such ban on the state government account was, on the front burner. And considering the fact that a lot is at stake with regards to payment of salaries, operations of government, and the daily running cost of governance. That's the source where the government would dip it and or direct ministries and departments and other agencies to operate from. And so seeing that, it appears to political observers as though that was a scheme by the ruling party to cripple the state and make the governor look like an incompetent or someone that is actually, defective in terms of administration. And it is something that actually wasn't expected. The election that held in Ekiti State, according to observers and many Nigerians, didn't go through this route. And people started asking questions with regards to why wasn't such instance recorded prior to the Ekiti election. And the Ekiti election was where people brazenly bragged on social media of having collected money ranging from 15,000, 20, 25,000, depending on the area where you're voting. And so, up until now, we have not heard about arrest. We have not heard about investigation of financial activities of all political parties involved in that election. We have not heard about anything. And, a few days to the Osun State election, Nigerians woke up to, see that news. And it immediately created a sort of a national outrage.
And the president came under it.
I was just going there, that it was just very timely that the president, in his wisdom, intervened immediately. But the intervention, as laudable and commendable as it was, it still bordered on, certain realities on ground. Because first of all, I'm aware that the law permits the anti-graft agency to carry out such operation, at least within the 72-hour time frame. And when you look at when this order was placed on the state government account, and when the president thing that was very, very unhealthy for our political development, and that is exactly one of the reasons why, as a people, as a nation, as political players, power is transient, political office is transient. You will come and go, the system will remain. While you are there, as much as you can, improve, enhance the structure of governance, and improve on the democratic institutions that would outlive you, so that when you are gone, the system can function optimally, even in the absence of a certain individual holding any particular office.
So far, what 2 or 3 projects will likely define as re-election campaign? I would just say people have been saying yes, because they went through a court party, it cannot win the confidence of the electorate again, and some said, it will still win the election because people love him. Osun State people love him. How can you define his election? His performance?
If I could recollect vividly, 4 years ago, Governor Ademola Adeleke came in through People First program, branding. Imole whatever, the Imole agenda. And when he came on board, I think his first 2 years, he focused on clearing the backlog of debt and trying to restore the Omoluabi ethos. Part of the debt was part of the half payment of salary that remained. And he did that trying to come up with visible welfare gestures towards the people. And actually, that endeared him to the people. Because the civil service morale was boosted through salary, regular salaries, people, where he got the appellation of the dancing governor.
Yes.
So, this one, and I'm very sure it is part of what people will use to actually grade him. The flyover he constructed in Osogbo, this Bogan Akoda road that he dualized, some road project in Nilisha, I followed him. What Aregbesola actually started that Oyetola abandoned, he
Continued.
He brought them to light, and he continued. Then I've mentioned the welfare and the debt clearance is a project to him. Then the agric and the agro processing. I think that one is where he has not actually taken off much, but he started. The I think 1,000 hectare farm settlement project that he promised, he started. Part of what people will use to grade him, leaving out the political factors.
Yes.
Now,
I was coming to that, the political factor,
Yeah.
power of incumbency from above. Yes.
Yeah, the power of incumbency in the state and
Above.
from above. Yes, and that is where you will be negatively affected. You know why? He was in a political party before, but because of what befell that political party, some people were blaming him that he shouldn't have jumped ship. If not until now that there is certain clarity that the court has actually given the upper hand to one faction of that party, the PDP, Ademola Adeleke wouldn't have known where to go. So the wisest thing for any politician in that respect, that he has an election to contest before the general election, was to abandon the ship, because then the PDP was a sinking ship. The factions, the whatever is prohibited, is not, before the weak faction now has the upper hand. And you can see what happened. The Makinde faction, or let me the Turaki faction. That one caused the friction between him and his counterpart in Oyo. So that one, but I gave him one kudos. He brought in a court that was either told nowhere in Osun State and made that party acceptable to the people. It's not easy. Go and ask anybody that brought in a sleeping party or one inactive party, and you try to rejig it, to revive it, and make it acceptable. It's not an easy task. So for him to do that, combining it with governance, is not an easy task. And that is part of what is haunting him now. Because as at now, he's not having the full allegiance of his former party, the PDP. He's having the allegiance of a faction, while the other faction has openly declared to support his opponent. is part of the minors.
Yes, Comrade Ude, I want you to just check this out, this question, talking about security, the security aspect. You know, all the violence and violence that have been occurring during campaigns and, you know, people, you know, attacking themselves in one-on-one attacks, going to houses, attacking each other. Well, security, the civil defense has said it had deployed, you know, some number of personnel to Osun State. The police also, some other security agencies too. How do you think this will prevent voter apathy?
Well, you know, the build-up to this election, the ongoing build-up, has not been really impressive. It hasn't really been encouraging in terms of the way the political parties are conducting themselves. Because these are the exact kind of events that lead to voter apathy. And in the end, the few that would be bold and courageous enough, perhaps the partisan members of the society that would come out to, you know, vote for their respective political parties, it is their votes that we count. And this is one of the reasons why it was very, very important for security agencies to remain unbiased in that election. Having said that, it is also very, very important because the governor is actually the chief security officer of the state.
On paper.
Yes, that may not. No, I was going there. Even though he doesn't have the power of command, he still has the power to invite security stakeholders to a meeting in collaboration with the police command of the state, where you would have the religious leaders, you have the political leaders, you have traditional leaders, and all of them come together and have an understanding that regardless of whatever support you have for whichever candidate or whatever political parties that are participating in that election, the safety of the people remains paramount and it is non-negotiable. And you know, a particular monarch was reported in the news a couple of days back issuing a direct warning to political parties or politicians not belonging to a certain political party to not step foot in such area to come and campaign. Now we live in a supposedly civilized society and we practice democratic governance where every Nigerian has the right to vote and be voted for. They have the right to freedom of association. And when Nigerians who are not even in any position of authority or power, but by reason of the public office they hold part-time in that Osun State, to ensure that come on Saturday, Nigerians freely go out to exercise their right and without fear of any form at that poll. Because the office that all the political actors, the candidates are vying for, does not in any way belong to their ancestral family or lineage or home. That is why nobody can go and access the office. You have to go to the people who are the original owners of the mandate. And so, when you, in the spirit of thinking you have federal influence, or you have state influence, as the case may be, abuse your office, deploy the instrumentality of the state to oppress and suppress people who are not in agreement with your views on political matters, then we are not in actual fact practicing democracy. Because the very foundation of democracy is freedom of choice, free will. So at any point that government at any level uses such office to usurp or oppress dissenting voices who are in actual fact exercising their fundamental rights, then we're not practicing democracy. And so it behoves on the security agencies, it is obligatory on them to ensure that they carry out that civic responsibility without any fear or intimidation of any kind.
Yes, comrade.
Maybe before you go
I know, I just want to just write that to
Okay.
what he's saying. Like, still talking about that security issue. Yes, you know, I know security will be heavy, security will be deployed to the major towns.
Sorry, please, before I call, sorry to cut you. You see, one of the reasons why the Osun State, number one. Number two, it is an election. And so, thirdly, it is the original state of the president.
Original.
You know, this is the Southwest. And, you know, the 2027 election is looking more like it is going to be, because the president will be seeking re-election come 2027. And Southwest being the region where the president hails from, his political party, the All Progressive Congress, is controlling 4 states. You have Oyo State under the APM now, and you have Osun State under Accord Party. So it is not looking too politically healthy, politically speaking, healthy for the presidential camp, the party that the president belongs. So this election is becoming more like a litmus test to make a statement that we are in charge, we are in control, and that is why we are seeing all this show of might, show of political force, and all that is actually playing out in Osun State. And at the end of the day, if care is not taken, you know, these things have repeated itself time and time again in time past. And at the end of the day, it leads to voter apathy. You have over 1 million people collecting PVC, getting accredited, and then you'll be recording 300,000 voter for the week.
I wanted to ask, before you wanted to make his own contribution to your earlier response, security. I know security will be deployed heavily to Osogbo, Ile-Ife, Ilesha, and some other major towns. But what about all those smaller towns, those smaller interland towns? What do you think will happen to them? Because those are where the fightings, the killings always come up.
I think whatever Sunday will look like, Saturday will have shown a very big reflection. The flashpoints for now happens to be Ede, Osogbo, Ife, Ilesha. Especially Ife and Ilesha. I threw a tantrum, which was actually the fact that the Ife-Ijesha axis, they are known for being stubborn, but for being strong-headed. If security, that's where I actually wanted to, of their safety. Safety of life and property during and after voting. 2, if I were the governor, he still has mandate until a day before the election. That is, he remains the governor until Saturday. Until Friday. On Friday, I expect him to make his final state broadcast. In that broadcast, he should not say any other thing apart from assuring the people of their safety. And that he should encourage the people to go out and vote en masse. Because, you see, our problem with our politicians is they are not accountable to us. They have forgotten that they derive their mandate from us. Immediately they got that mandate, they become a monster. They become bosses. It's only time like this. And that is why our people, They have done so many things. They have weaponized hunger. Rather than this time, for our people to show them that, look, you are now coming back. Because they have weaponized hunger, they still remain the master. Sharing rice, sharing Ankara, sharing all those nonsense. And with what Ode said, I think Osun State is of interest. Go to Osogbo today. There is one big billboard there. Still have APC by the left, Accord by the right. President Tinubu under the banner of APC, Adeleke. And Adeleke has also played smart. He came out openly just last week or 2 weeks ago that Accord in Osun State, they have no other presidential candidate, that they are going to follow President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He did that to knock off whatever. Federal government come to our aid and whatever. And if you know, before he finally decided on Accord, he knew he wanted to go to the APC. But we heard that the Blue Marine Economy and Mama Sokwe did not agree that he should come into the APC.
Because they felt he will take over the structure of the party.
Will APC have gotten 2 candidates now? So, all those things that has played out, Adeleke is also, and you saw that in the embarrassment that happened. I didn't see the way my comrade journalist saw it. I believe EFCC has its mandate. And they said they have been on a matter. If you have been on a matter since March, March to August, how many months? 5 months.
5 months.
And you did not take any decision. You did not make any pronouncement until just 10 days.
To the Osun elections.
They call you a thief. And until just 10 days.
To the Osun elections.
They call you a thief. And they still see you romancing a kid. That's the baby of the goat. You are playing through to type. And it's not anything in the background. And I faulted it that EFCC knew that without a court warrant, they cannot just do that. That's why the institution they had power on was the bank. Because you want to place a lien on my account, you come with a warrant, you inform, they're supposed to inform the Osun State, the operator of the account. They did not do that. And that was where it became an embarrassment for anybody that knows about financial law or whatever. There was no court warrant. They just wrote. And that was why the chairman was coming out to say they have. And if you want to do that, you can do that to individual accounts, not to corporate account like that. Especially a state government account where ongoing drawings can be made. I'm very sure the time they did that, some salary might not have been cleared.
Yes.
You did that for 72 hours, even if you want to do it for 72 hours, you are denying some people. If any of those people go to court, they will take the state government to court, the state government will pull the bank, and what comes? EFCC will still become guilty. So I'm very sure those who are the legal advice that got to Mr. President's hearing, and that's why he called it, he named it aptly. It was an embarrassment.
Yes, that was why
the EFCC Act was an embarrassment.
That's why
he has to intervene.
Yes, immediately asked the EFCC to go and secure an order again.
Osun State will be a spectacle of interest to people come Saturday. Power play. Like he analyzed, the ruling party will want to say we are winning this state for Mr. President and for our party. But unfortunately, they are not the one winning the state. If Adeleke wins the state too, Mr. President knows he has he has a stake in that. That even if Adeleke wins, it will be more pronounced because despite the division within the party that he left, if he is able to win, Mr. President will have more belief in him than even his party.
Yes, but let me ask you one question. If, like you said, if Adeleke wins, and don't you think it will be a prolonged battle? Tribunals, courts, and all those?
Well, you know, every politician, everybody has that right to justice. and seeking for leniency and all of that, and then I ask myself, there is a place for professionalism and there is a place for humanity. You know quite frankly that this is the crime that these people have committed. Is it about money that you are seeking leniency for these people? So it tells you how far lawyers can go, you know, in trying to prove that they are practicing their profession. And so, regardless of whatever plays out on Saturday, lawyers are still going to have a field day at the end of the election.
Of course.
It is just to be expected. And so, when you go to Osun today, and you follow, because I have quite a lot of people there. I have some friends that are actually from Osun State that are based in Ibadan and have traveled to Osun because they said they were going to participate in that election. Because they are determined to go and participate. They spent personal money to try, including old people that I know personally of, because of Adeleke. And so, the election and how Adeleke will be measured by the people who are looking to vote for him will be based on his performance. And if you check the feedback, because whatever you do as a government, feedback mechanism is where you see yourself. It's like the mirror. If you are claiming to be spending billions of money, whatever you're doing for the people, it is how the people respond to that policy that will tell you that you are pursuing the right course in the right direction. You can actually have a very lofty idea and initiative and be implementing it the wrong way. And the people who are to be the beneficiary will still be suffering. But you will be laying claim to how much you have spent in this course. So if you look at Osun State by their economic structure, it is largely a civil servant-based state. How many industries are there? How many factories are there? What are they doing? There are none. Just a few. So if you look at it, a governor that is able to create enabling environment for businesses to thrive, commercial activities to thrive, and is able to well take care of workers, civil servants, and also the retirees, the pensioners, such government will become a popular government. And coupled with the fact that Adeleke has tried in terms of infrastructure, because if the road is bad, you are supposed to move from point A to point B at the cost of 500 naira. But because the road is terribly bad, you are being charged 1,000 naira. It is coming to also tell on personal finances and household finances. And when you look at how he has fared and the feedback from Osun State, it is definitely going to be, like he rightly said, a state of interest to look out for. Because the party, the ruling party, the APC, would be looking to make a statement, and the government of Osun State, under Accord Party, would also be looking to retain their position, relying on its popularity among the electorate. So Saturday is actually going to be very intriguing, but the most concerning thing about the unfolding event regarding Osun State is security. Because you see, when that becomes paramount, it will be difficult. He said something the other time, that Adeleke should come out fortnight to the election and make a state broadcast, assuring the people of all of that. We have had issues where, you know, they say, he who dictates the piper, who pays the piper, dictates the tune. In the event where people go out confidently on the strength of assurances they get from Governor Adeleke to cast their vote, and then they become victim of the electoral process, who gives them justice? So at the end of the day, if the people who are supposed to uphold the sanctity of the electoral process fail in their job, it might really take us backward, you know, a lot of miles. So it is very, very important that the security agencies, regardless of, you know, how they operate and where or who they are accountable to, ensure that every citizen of Osun State exercise their right to vote on that Saturday without fear or intimidation of any kind.
Yes, point of correction somewhere. They have Osun State has hotels and event centers too.
That's why I use the word businesses.
Businesses, small businesses.
Businesses, commercial activities.
Yes, comrade.
Yeah.
The youths.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know how the government, the Osun State government, and any all those stakeholders can convince them how they will, just not play to the gallery by causing trouble. They are almost the ones used, to foment trouble.
It's not only the youth that I will want to talk to here. If you want to take the youth, it is 70-30%. Aleke will have 70. Youth love is accessibility, is availability.
Connection.
The only thing that they want to take against him, in fact, some of them, because I interact with some of them, they know it wasn't his fault. Job creation, the inflation, fuel pricing, they know he has little or no control over inflation and fuel price. Job creation, the little infrastructure is developing is at least giving out the jobs, although maybe on a temporary basis, to the youth. So if it is to the youth, I will say, but political maneuvering that is happening, I think President Tinubu is living up to his bid as being adept in politics. He's the one from above now controlling Osun State. You know the first thing he did? The factions in APC, he has actually galvanized them. He brought about 70-something of them to Abuja, talked to them that they should go back and do the needful. Later, tomorrow, all traditional council, the Osun Traditional Council, he has invited them. You know, some palaces have polling booths.
Yes.
In their domain. So he knows what it means. It is that is reducing the chances of, previously I graded it 65-35, later 60-40, but the way things are now, with the maneuverings the APC is doing, is coming to 55-45. Still slightly giving Adeleke the edge in Osun State. Because people, Omo Imole, that is Omo Ilu, they love not one Lagos guy that will be coming, not one Abuja minister that will be coming. They love people that they see.
Yes.
So all those little things that people are not seeing. Politics is not everything. The only thing I'm scared of is the votes may not count. It could be the court that will still determine who will be the governor. And that is what I'm pleading with people. That all the stakeholders, they should make sure it is people's votes that actually determine who leads them. It should not be the court. The court in Nigeria today, Kekere Ekun, has failed in doing what she promised